They just found a planet that looks exactly like Earth. Same size, same temperature, and possibly the same kind of atmosphere. But here's the catch. If you were to visit this Earth 2.0, you probably wouldn't survive a single day. We've always looked up at the night sky, wondering if there's another world out there like ours, one with oceans, mountains, maybe even people. Scientists have spent decades searching, and now they say they finally found something that could be Earth's twin. But as we dig deeper, it turns out this so-called second Earth might not be the paradise we imagine. In fact, what's hiding beneath its clouds could change everything we think we know about life beyond Earth. Here's the thing. Every time NASA or the European Space Agency announces a new Earth-like planet, headlines go crazy. Earth 2.0 discovered, or scientists find habitable planet just like ours. But most of the time, that's not the full story. Just because a planet looks like Earth from millions of miles away doesn't mean it actually is like Earth. It might have the right size, but wrong atmosphere, the right distance from its star, but deadly radiation. Or it could have a thick layer of gas that traps heat and turns it into a pressure cooker. And that's exactly the case with this new discovery, the planet scientists are calling Kepler 452b, or what the media loves to call Earth 2.0. Let's talk about what makes Kepler 452b so special and so dangerous. It's about 1,400 light-years away in the constellation Cygnus. That means if you were traveling at the speed of light, which obviously we can't, it would still take you more than 1,000 years to get there. In other words, no spaceship we have today could ever reach it in a human lifetime. But here's what makes it interesting. Kepler 452b orbits a star that's almost the same as our Sun, just slightly bigger and a bit older. The planet sits right in what scientists call the habitable zone, the sweet spot where temperatures might allow liquid water to exist. That's a big deal, because wherever there's liquid water, there's a chance for life. Now, when NASA first announced this in 2015, people went crazy. Headlines screamed, "Earth's cousin found!" Social media blew up with people asking if this could be humanity's backup planet, a place we could move to if Earth ever became unlivable. But here's where things get tricky. Kepler 452b might be in the right zone, but its size is slightly larger, about 60% bigger than Earth. That doesn't sound like much, but it makes a huge difference. That extra size means stronger gravity. If you weigh 70 kilos here, you'd weigh around 120 kilos there. Just standing up or walking would feel like you're dragging a heavy backpack everywhere. And it gets worse. Scientists think Kepler 452b could have a thicker atmosphere filled with carbon dioxide and water vapor. That means the planet might trap more heat than Earth, turning it into a humid, high-pressure world where temperatures could soar far beyond what humans can handle. So yes, it's Earth-like, but it's also like Earth turned up to extreme mode. Still, the story doesn't end there. Kepler 452b isn't the only candidate for Earth 2.0. In fact, since NASA launched the Kepler Space Telescope, they've found thousands of exoplanets, planets orbiting stars outside our solar system, and hundreds of them seem similar to Earth in size and temperature. But here's the crazy part. Out of all those thousands of planets, none are exactly like Earth. Some are too big, some too hot, some too cold. Some orbit red dwarf stars that flare up and blast them with deadly radiation. Others might be covered entirely in oceans with no land at all. Yet scientists haven't given up, because for every almost Earth we find, we get closer to understanding what makes our planet so special and what conditions might allow life somewhere else. One of the most exciting new candidates is TOI 700d. This planet was discovered by NASA's TESS telescope in 2020, and it's only about 100 light-years away, practically our neighbor, compared to Kepler 452b. It's in the habitable zone too, and it's about the same size as Earth. The big difference? It orbits a red dwarf star, which is much smaller and cooler than our Sun. That means the planet has to orbit much closer to its star to stay warm. But being that close comes with a big risk. Red dwarfs often release massive bursts of radiation that could wipe out any atmosphere the planet might have. Imagine standing outside, and suddenly the sky explodes with a wave of radiation that fries everything. That's what these planets might experience regularly. So even though TOI 700D might have the right temperature, its environment could be deadly. And that brings up the big question. What do we even mean by Earth-like? When scientists say a planet is Earth-like, they usually mean it's similar in size and in the habitable zone of its star. But that doesn't mean it has blue skies, green forests, or breathable air. Most of these planets could be toxic, cloudy, or even completely covered in ice or lava. The truth is, we're using Earth as a blueprint, the only example of a planet that we know supports life. So when we say Earth 2.0, we're really just saying something that might be a little bit like Earth, but we don't know for sure. And that's both fascinating and frustrating. Because right now, we're like detectives trying to solve a mystery by looking at tiny clues from billions of miles away. We can't visit these planets, we can't take samples. All we have is light, the faint light that reaches us through telescopes. Scientists analyze that light to figure out what elements are in the planet's atmosphere, how hot it is, how big it is, and how far it is from its star. Think about that. We're looking at specks of light, and from that, we're guessing what a whole world might be like. Now here's the mind-blowing part. In 2023, the James Webb Space Telescope, the most powerful telescope ever built, started studying exoplanets in detail. And one of the first major surprises came from a planet called K2-18b. Scientists thought K2-18b was another super-Earth, a little bigger than our planet, orbiting a star about 120 light-years away. But when the James Webb Telescope looked closer, it found something shocking. Signs of molecules like methane and carbon dioxide, gases often linked to life. Even more surprising, it found hints of a molecule called dimethyl sulfide, which on Earth is only produced by living organisms, mainly by plankton in the oceans. If this finding turns out to be true, it could be the first real evidence of biological activity on another planet. Not proof yet, but a huge step. But here's the twist. K2-18b might not be a rocky world like ours at all. Some scientists think it could be a Hycean world, a planet with a deep global ocean under a thick, hydrogen-rich atmosphere. If that's true, it means life there, if it exists, could be very different from anything on Earth, maybe living in oceans of superheated water under immense pressure in complete darkness. So Earth 2.0 might not look like Earth at all. It could be something stranger, alien, and maybe even more fascinating. And that's what's truly amazing. The more we search, the more we realize that Earth might be one of a kind, or maybe just one of many different versions of what life-friendly means in the universe. So, does Earth 2.0 really exist? Well, yes and no. We found planets that look like Earth, orbit like Earth, and even have atmospheres like Earth, but none that we could actually live on, or at least not yet. Every planet we found has something off. Too hot, too cold, too dense, too far, too unstable. And yet every discovery gets us closer to answering the question humans have asked for thousands of years. Are we alone? Maybe Earth 2.0 won't be another version of our planet. Maybe it'll be something completely new, a world that shows us life can exist in ways we've never imagined. Until we can actually go there and see for ourselves, all we can do is keep searching, keep wondering, and keep looking up at the stars. Because somewhere out there, something is waiting to be found.